So, you may or may not know that I now have a Windows machine. I have been running a gaming channel for the past 9 months on YouTube Gaming. Channel name is Chris Plays Games, and as a result, I finally invested in a Windows PC. I've been using it for game playing and other things like that, as well as doing a bunch of minor video editing and so on, thumbnail creation, etc. for the channel. What this means is that I've been working on trying to learn some of the ways that people do things when they have a Mac and a PC. So I have a Mac. I've had a Mac for a bunch of years. I, use my Mac for have used my Mac for creating drone videos. Have used my Mac for creating all kinds of stuff. And so now I've got to, and I've never really thought about before, 6 months ago, even thought about having a PC. So none of my stuff is set up for this. And I haven't used a PC in like a decade. I last ran a PC when I was running Linux on my desktop in probably 2003. So this is a different thing for me. And one of the things that I'm finding is okay, I have a file on my Mac and I want to get it to my PC. It's a lot harder than I want it to be. On a normal, Linux machine, I just SCP over the file, no problem, right? So I'm and like all people, I resort to the system solutions for any problem that I know the best. So the solution I know the best is SCP, SSH-based file copy. And so I'm looking around for an SCP server, and I finally get one that runs, and I run it on Windows, and I try and start it up, and I can't figure out how it's actually working because it's actually running and it's in the taskbar, but I can't see it in the taskbar because Windows has auto-collapsed the taskbar. So I have no idea how to do it, and I have to add users because the users on the system don't actually count. And then when I copy over files, I try and specify a file path, and it doesn't actually work. So I spent, an hour and 45 minutes copying files from my Mac to my PC, and it got to the end, and they were not actually files. They were just an empty folder full of whatever. And it's okay, well that's suboptimal. So then I, am okay, so I have to actually copy them to their own folder. But when I do that and I specify the files, halfway through these large video files, on each file it will just randomly break. Okay, so that's not going to work. Okay, can I run a web server? No. Can I, run an FTP server? Okay, now we're getting into silly solutions. So finally I look up, Microsoft has an article about how to set up file sharing, so I set up an SMB file share in Windows, and I copy it over, and everything else like that, and okay, fine. It finally worked. I got my files on my computer. I can use them, whatever. But man, the other thing I mentioned, I tried to copy them with my hard drive. So I put them on an external hard drive, and I want to copy the external hard drive and plug it into the Windows machine and use it. The problem is that the external hard drive, of course, was only ever used on Mac, was only ever thought to be used on Mac, and so it's formatted in HFS, which is a Mac-only file system. So the Windows machine doesn't even see it when you plug the damn thing in. Now that's again a little bit my fault, but I never really thought that I would be using a Windows machine for anything before. The same problem would probably happen on Linux. I don't think it has any better HFS support, but it's a little bit frustrating. You don't have the tools that you're used to using. You try and use the tools that you can understand, and they don't really work. And overall, it's just a terrible, terrible experience. So I guess that my takeaway from this is that moving into a new computing paradigm, whether it's OS or whatever else like that, is very difficult, even for relatively smart people. So when someone's trying something new, you should really try and give them the benefit of the doubt. I am a Windows noob, absolutely, but I've been using computers for 20 years. So I'm not a computer noob, I'm not an idiot. Just because I'm asking a dumb question or don't know what I'm doing, or doing something the worst possible way, doesn't mean that I'm an idiot. It just means that I'm ignorant. And in the case of ignorance, allowing people to, ask questions and learn is the best way to go. I see a lot of times people will, reach out for help in public support channels for open source projects and other things like that. And when they do that, they are, ridiculed for not knowing a thing. And the reality is you didn't know it a year ago either. It might not have even existed. SMB for file sharing is not a thing that I would have known from my Windows 3.1 days or my Linux days. And so to not know this is not a sign of stupidity, it's not a sign of foolishness, it's not a sign of anything other than ignorance. And you should always try and be supportive and helpful to those who are ignorant when they're reaching out for help to try and be useful, until they're assholes, at which point you just tell them to stop. Anyway, that's just a little story I had. I've been working on a video and stuff like that for my other channel, Chris Plays Games on YouTube. I'm doing a big YouTube Gaming 1-year anniversary stream tonight, so stop by for that if you can. We'll be doing birthday cake for YouTube. We'll be doing a whole bunch of other stuff, so check that out. Other than that, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.